Okay, so the reasoning behind having the cold water, high immersion, and adding that first layer of colour is because I want it to disperse through the yarn more evenly. If I had added heat, it's going to strike really fast, as will the two second colours. But this, I like to just, well, after making about, I don't know how many, 70 or 80 of these puppies, then I think I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to put the lids on and let this heat up for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we will add the other two colours. The second colour is brown, and lastly is this gorgeous charcoal grey. So when it all first came out that we, you know, some hand dyers from Australia to create a colourway, a limited edition that people could purchase, and you know, money gets donated to wherever we want. Mine was Wildlife Victoria. Obviously I live in Victoria, and I think they didn't get a lot of the donation money initially. So shouldn't keep saying
Yep.
So if you were super generous and you purchased some of these yarns, then I thought, what a good way to make a video and just show you how your yarn was made. They're all individual and different because I make one at a time, to the point where these stainless steel pots are actually got some green staining in them because we had to make so many. People were so generous. So yeah, the fundraiser was organised by Aussie Farmer Market and Heather Maid. They live in Gippsland, and they were constantly under threat themselves. They weren't sure what was going on. So it was just a great way to raise some money, and I haven't checked the tally. It ended at the end of Feb, but I think it's somewhere around $6,000 to $7,000 was raised by Indie Dyers for Bushfire Support. So everyone had beautiful yarns. Everybody, I'm sure, bought some just because they felt like we did, helpless. What can I do? Yeah, so I'll come back and finish these off, and I'm actually keeping one of these because I was sold out. So I'm going to have one of these. And I was contacted by somebody yesterday looking for, you know, is there a chance of having one? So I'm making it for my two. Someone wants it, it'll be here. So I'm going to pop the lids on and go and have a coffee, come back, and then we will do the secondary colours. Okay. Okay, so due to technical difficulties, Steve, we didn't quite manage to get that initial insertion of the colour where I want it to bleed through. Now you can see the steam is starting to come up now. Okay, so initially I've put the green in. Did film it, but didn't quite come off. So now you can see that the green has spread out quite a little bit. There's still a lot of white. So when I was thinking about what colours I wanted to use for, you know, a bushfire support yarn, I thought, well, we want green because we want recovery. So I called the yarn A Wish for Recovery, and the green represents regrowth, the brown will be for the scorched earth, and the grey for the smoke and the cinders and just such a terrible time. Okay, so we're ready now to start adding the secondary colour, which is going to be brown. So I won't use as much of the brown or the grey. So what I tried to do is just run it along here initially, just to get that colour through. Because we want to get lots of different tones. We don't just want, you know, brown. We want it sort of everywhere. So now I'm going to be a bit more heavy-handed once I've done that. And I'm swooshing. Technical term again. Alright, we'll do this one. Come from this side and try and... Okay, so that's a big squirt. You can't really see what's going on underneath the yarn. Okay, so then what I like to do with whatever's left in the pot, give it a couple of little dabs here and there. And these are not speckles, but they do come out a little bit like that. And we'll just pull up some water just to get rid of that. Okay. Now it's layering and layering and layering until you feel like you've got it right. So, no right or wrong way here. Okay, so I'll rinse this off. Okay, so that's starting to absorb, although if I go like this, there's a lot of white still underneath, which can represent the smoke as well. Look at this one. This one's spread out a little bit more, but yeah, still quite a bit of white there. So this yarn that I'm using is a new base that I've gotten in. It's 85% superwash extra fine merino and 15% nylon, and it's just beautiful. It's like butter. So I'm just going to give that a couple of minutes to absorb, and then I'll come in with some grey. All right, so now I'm going to come in with this beautiful charcoal grey. See all that white there? Some down here. Now it does look purple, but it is actually grey. Easier making two at the same time, so you can sort of make twins. Okay, so we have quite a bit here. Give that a bit of a swoosh. The Fundraiser was the brainchild of Aussie Farmers Market and Heather Made Dyed Yarns. So hats off to these ladies. Just got to get a bit more colour happening in here. Apologies if my hands are in the way. That's looking nice. This water is a tad hot. All of these colours were pre-mixed, so I don't need to wear gloves or a mask, which I would have done when I was initially doing this. All of this is dedicated dye equipment, so I would never use this again to do food of any kind. That would be unwise. So just spreading out a few dots here, try and make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to need some more brown over that side, so I'll move back to that. Okay, so this is the fun part. I'm going to wait a minute because that grey over there is really spreading, as you can see, and I'm after more of a balanced sort of a look with the colours. There's a lot of white down there, so let's hit that one. And Now this is striking so quickly because of the heat. So if there's still some white in the yarn, I'm not bothered because that represents the smoke. This one has a lot of grey in it, so I might have to come back and touch him up a little bit. And like, I don't know if other dyers have the same thing, but it's like, when do we stop? Sometimes you can just put too much extra in and kind of lose it a bit. But they're all individual. They're all, that's what hand dyed is. Anything handmade is unique.
Could you make them on the front ones and then the back ones?
No, they're different settings. Okay, so they look completely different, even though we're using the same process. And that's what happens, but I will go in once that's exhausted and start sort of just adding more as I go, see where it needs some, move the yarn around. So I'll wait for all of that to absorb first, and then we'll come back and have a look. Nothing, nothing. So I can add more colour to this one straight away. Still got some colour in it. Not much, a couple of minutes for that one. Alright, so I might add a little bit more grey over this side. Try and get it a bit more balanced. There's still quite a bit of white there. So I find that these syringes are really easy to work with. Can really get down through the yarn, and it just, of course, rises up, and then I get the absorption. So, and again, I'm just going to dribble some dye over this, and you do end up with a pretty little speckle kind of thing happening. Could be a few more over here. Alright, let's see what happens to that guy. Okay, so I'll fill up my green dye. So these are 1% stock solutions that I'm making. So I dissolve half a teaspoon in 250 mils of boiling hot water. Give it a stir. Also like to use one of these little cafe machines. They get in there and really clean things up. So, fairly strong, just a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to have a look at this one. I've just see where we're at. So that's pretty clear. I can see some. Alright, so you can see the steam is coming off, but I've actually turned it down to a low simmer. So I'm going to start going in with some extra colour. So I'll do a little bit of green to beginning with. And this will strike really quickly because of the heat. It's ready to rock. Okay, so a little bit more over there. So I'm just tipping it in and swooshing again. I'm swooshing. There's some, and you'll also then get, you know, variations of tone and the colour. Over here, it's looking pretty, but look at that. It's all hiding. So I don't care if there's a little bit of white left over because that was representing, you know, the smoke in the fires, but some tonal greens is more what I'm after. See how that is in there, or hiding. And especially where the ties are. I think for that one though I might add some grey now. So just a tiniest little bit goes quite a way if you just want to get those tones up. I'm trying to keep my head out of the picture, but my burners at the front don't have, well, they're not the same heat, so that makes life a bit hard. Right, that's looking better. So all I'm doing is I'm looking for areas that don't have a lot of colour in it, such as here. So that will need a little bit more green as well. So some are more vibrant than others. It's just because they're being made in this fashion. Ooh, pretty. All right, that one there. Might give him a little bit of grey, I think, just to vary it up. See how quickly those colours are striking? Look, that's still quite white. Ooh, pretty. What's going on down there? Okay, so we could use a little bit more. Trying to even out your colours and things. Alright, so then I want to give it a bit more of a splash with these colours. So I'm just going to use the spoon and I'm just basically flicking it. But it does make nice little speckles, especially here on the ends. Always good. He's a bit of a plain Jane. Okay. I'm not bothering to wash the spoon or anything while I'm doing this. I think that one's almost done. Maybe a little bit more brown in here. It's a beautiful brown, this one. It's very golden undertones. All right, so now you can really see a lot of variation in these colours, yeah? So let's get some green into this one. Ooh, pretty, look at that. A little bit more here. And here. Oops. Tripping over my own fingers. It's silly. Okay, so what's going on down here? That looks pretty and brown. A little bit of green in that one. And I think grey for over here. Don't want to overwhelm it with the secondary colours. Yeah. All right, so then we just have a little bit of a flick again. Hit my head on the camera. I'll teach me, Steve, right?
Yeah, is that good, the camera now?
Yeah. Technical difficulties. All right, well, now they look more similar. Jesus. All right, a couple of brown drops in here now. Maybe a little bit of this one. All right, so that's basically it. That is the making of a wish for recovery, which everyone just so generously supported. It was mind-boggling. Oh my god. Oh my god, like really, it's a good thing I'm not an actress, isn't it? Because I would never hit my mark. I'm short. How do I keep hitting that? Okay, so that's basically it. That's a wish for recovery, how we made it. Man, we had so many sales. I'm sure everybody did. Canada, lots of people in America. Yeah, it was, and look, the generosity, I'm just lost for words. Like, so many people supported this fundraiser, and we raised, you know, a good amount of money, which is going direct to the charities, not through, you know, a third party or anything. And yeah, I just want to say another thank you to Aussie Farmers Market and Heather Made Yarns for suggesting it, for everyone, all the other dyes that got behind it. And yeah, if you got the yarn, this is how it was made, and I hope that you enjoy it. Would love to see some pictures of your projects, whatever it is that you made for us. That would be great. Maybe we should have a board where everybody could put it, you know, all the different yarns that we use. Anyway, thinking out loud. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching.